Greetings, I'm Maggie Ostara, and I welcome you to What's New with Human Design. In this series of videos, we will be following the journey of the Sun and the Earth as they move around the Human Design Mandala. We begin this journey on January 22nd. I did a full hour webinar that you can check out about that. Then we will continue every 5 to 6 days. The Sun or the Earth will move into new gates of the Human Design Mandala. So let me just tell you a little bit about the mandala to begin with, which is that in human design is based in astrology in part, but it's also different than. It's based in 4 different ancient wisdom traditions, one of which is Western and Eastern astrology. Another is the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching, and the 64 hexagrams are represented in the mandala, and they are related to the gates. So as the Sun and the Earth move around the mandala, they'll be moving from the different gates, and those gates are associated with the different hexagrams of the I Ching. In addition to that, it's related to the chakra system, and the gates, when placed onto the body graph, which is the figure in the middle, are actually located on each of the different 9 energy centers. So there's 9 different energy centers in the Human Design body graph, as opposed to 7 in the chakra system that comes out of the yogic traditions of India. There's actually many more chakras than that, but those are the ones that we understand about in the West. And as we go through, I will talk about the different centers and what they mean, and a little bit in relation to the chakras. Then in addition, the system is based in the Tree of Life from the Kabbalah, from the Judaic tradition, and that helps us to understand how the different gates relate to each other and the different channels that are created between the different energy centers. So that's just a brief description of the systems that the Human Design is based on. And as I go through, I will be pointing out more different aspects of this for you. But to begin here in this series, I want to share a few fundamentals that are particularly significant for this particular inquiry. There are so many inquiries in human design, but in this one, there are certain fundamental things that I want to go over for today. So what we're basically looking at is how are the Sun and the Earth transiting the different gates of the mandala. Now, this is a little bit different than the transits that you think of it in astrology. Again, similar, related, but also different. And all of the different planets transit the different gates around the mandala at different rates. But the Sun and the Earth march together and change every 5 to 6 days. So they're very consistent in that way. Whereas some of the outer planets, for example, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, can be in the gates for a long time. Sometimes, many weeks and months. And then the closer in, the Moon, for example, moves very quickly, as you might imagine. And then the Mercury and Venus also move relatively quickly compared to the outer planets, but slower than the Earth and the Sun. So just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to be focusing on the Sun and the Earth. And in some ways, they're the most important of the planets in any event, although others play absolutely vital role in your design and understanding your design. So as we go through these transits, we're looking at the Sun and the Earth, and they're basically lighting up those different gates during this time that they're transiting. And what that means is that the energy of those gates becomes more available. It's like that energy is lit up and is kind of circling our planet, right? Is in the cosmic field that we live in all the time. Now, how that affects you is going to be different depending on what your own human design is, what your chart looks like. Now, everyone has the entire human design chart, meaning you have access to all of the energies that are in the chart. all 64 gates, 32 channels, 9 centers, and there's over 100 different archetypes, all energies that you have access to, and you will have experienced all of them many, many times in your life. The difference is the parts that are what we call defined, that are the parts that are colored in your chart. You have ongoing, ready, reliable, consistent, even fixed way of experiencing those energies. And the parts that are white in your chart are what we call open. And it means that you're going to experience those energies differently depending on who you're around. And if you're around someone who has that energy defined in their chart, then you're going to pick it up and amplify it. And if you think about the people that you grew up with, whether those were siblings, if you had parents, if you grew up with, aunties or someone else, whoever it is that you spent a lot of time around, you're going to be really familiar with their defined energies because you're going to have picked them up and amplified them over and over again because they've been around you a lot. So you're going to know those pretty well also, as well as your own. And sometimes it's actually a little hard to know what's yours and what's someone else's because of that level of familiarity. It is also possible that you've been conditioned in those areas, that you've been exposed to them so much that you've actually taken them in and kind of been imprinted with those energies, even though they're not defined in your chart. And so there's a lot of variation about how you can experience these different energies. And you can be conditioned or imprinted in one of what I think of as the more awakened aspects of those energies, or in more of the shadow aspect, or in more of the disempowered aspect. So there's a lot of variety in terms of how you experience these energies. And this is particularly true if it's open in your chart because, like I said, those energies are going to come and go, and you're going to be more susceptible or more influenceable and more impressionable in those areas than in the places that are colored in where you're defined. But you're also going to be influenced and that have been impressed by the people around you in the places that are defined in your chart as well. So all of us have been interacting with each other and with our environment throughout our lives. And so it's a very complex system and a very complex way that we have come to understand ourselves and the energies of the chart. So there isn't a really simplistic way to understand this. Sometimes people really like to try to make human design, like distill it down and make it really simple. And it's just not. My fundamental experience is that the chart that we have is a snapshot of when we were born, right? Just like your astrology chart is a snapshot, and it tells you what your tendencies are. It tells you what your gifts and talents are, potentially. If you learn to express the more awakened or empowered part of them, they definitely are superpowers for you even, absolutely. But it doesn't tell you how you've lived your life. It doesn't tell you how you've been influenced by your life experience and by the people that you have spent a lot of time around. It doesn't tell you how you've been influenced by the decisions that you've made, by different challenging situations that you have had in your life. And so there's many layers to how you've interacted with your human design over the course of your life experience. So having said that, the benefit of these transits as they come through is that they give you access to those energies in a way that's stronger than you normally would have. So let's say it's open in your chart, it's white in your chart, then you're going to feel that energy in a way that you don't usually, unless you're around somebody who has it defined in their chart and you're amplifying it, or if you've been really imprinted with it through your life experience. And so you get the opportunity to kind of grab a hold of that energy and see what it's like, and to utilize it for your benefit in certain ways. Particularly if you start to express the higher nature, its higher nature, or its more awakened aspect, which is what I'll be really focusing on during these episodes, is how can you express the higher aspect of these energies for your personal benefit, for the benefit of your family, and for the collective. If they're defined in your chart, then you won't be as influenced by the energies because you will have already created a consistent, sometimes even fixed way of experiencing those energies, again, based on what you came in with and how your life experience has gone and who you've grown up around and how you interacted with them and the decisions that you made about those energies. But when the Earth and the Sun in particular, but the Earth also are transiting in those gates, then you have the opportunity. It's almost like a portal opens so that you have a greater opportunity to change the way that you're experiencing that energy or to heighten the positive aspects of it if you want. So if you know that you've gotten kind of trapped in the disempowered or more shadow aspects of one of the energies in your chart, one of the gates, then when the Sun or the Earth transits it, you have an opportunity to work with that energy and change your experience of it. So this is really the benefit for you to be following along with me, the journey of the Sun and the Earth, because it tunes you in to what becomes available for you in a heightened way, and how you can upgrade your experience of these energies. Because as I said, you've experienced all of them in your life. Some of them you have more consistent, some are more variable. But my experience is that as you get to know all of these energies better, whether it's defined or whether it's open in your chart, you can make better decisions and be more at choice about how you're going to experience those energies. And you can turn what were liabilities into allies for you and even into superpowers. So I'm really excited to help guide you through this journey and to see how this lands for you. I always love to hear what what you're getting out of whatever it is that I'm sharing. So please do make sure to leave a comment. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you want to get regular notifications for when the next video is out. Many blessings, much love. See you soon on the next episode.